There we go. My
Yes.
new remote control.
Wow.
Upgrading. Cheers!
Cheers!
Aurora Brännström.
Thank you. Yes.
We've known each other for quite some years now. From the Stockholm burlesque and drag scene. And we also work with Naked Attraction.
Yeah, we did.
The TV series. And you were a great help then, because we had to introduce it to the Swedish market. And
Thank you.
yes.
Since I work with sexual education as part of my career, I'm also a musician, I'm a singer, I have a jazz club, I also have a podcast named KinkyPodden. So we kind of meet in different areas.
Yeah, and on my street. I ran into you in Rörstrandsgatan like a couple of weeks ago.
Yes,
and
fantastic.
And then I thought we just have to talk about Kinky Klimakteria, because you run the Kinky Pod.
I do,
right?
yes.
Tell us, what is the Kinky Pod?
Oh, the Kinky Pod, the Kinky podcast is in Swedish, I should say that, but it's my sexual educating podcast with focus on sexuality that kind of breaks the norm. So it's kinky, it's a bit BDSM, it can be fetishism or anything that is a little bit outside the box. But still, it's information, and I do educate with lust for life. So it's very broad.
Lust and arts.
Yes.
Since you're a musician. And,
yes, that too. So it's goes from high to low and low to high, and I have a lot of interesting guests in my podcasts, experts, influencers, colleagues to me, very interesting, fascinating people who knows about sex and sexuality. So that's what I do.
Cool. What about the kinky aspect? What is kink to you?
Kink to me is so many things. It's the little things that makes you spark, and that can be all in your head. Going on the street, feeling, having a fantasy going, and looking at the world with some kind of sexual energy that makes you
feel aroused.
Feel aroused, feel, and also look in a different way. Because
hot and brilliant.
But kinky, I mean, the word kind of sets spotlights on something that breaks the norm. It doesn't have to. I think it also has something in it with spark. Kink is spark to me. And to me right now, since I'm having a little lower sex drive myself, I focus on my clothing, my makeup, my hair, my walk, my voice, and my imagination. And also kind of try to make me vibrate or something in the little things.
Kundalini rising.
Yeah. Yes. So connecting with your body in your everyday life is kind of kinky, isn't it? Like walking the street, feeling your vagina, feeling your hips, looking at people with a little bit of spark. That's kinky. They don't know, but they can see that you shine or something. I've learned so much, and I've had so much like nice talk.
Anything about like menopause, or
not so much about menopause.
How come? Like, and would you consider it being like a taboo subject or topic in Sweden?
Maybe. maybe it is such a lot of taboo around it that it hasn't even come to mind to talk about it for me or any of my guests. So I'm so happy that I ran into you and that we could talk about it, hopefully in my podcast too. Because I would say most of my guests talk about other things, like how do we make relationships out of the norm? Can we have more relationships than only one, monogamous, for example? And that has been kind of a theme in a lot of my episodes. I would say not all, but many people who also like into BDSM or kinks and go to sex parties are also non-monogamous in some way, swingers or something else. So that has been kind of a unconscious theme in the podcast. I myself am non-monogamous, even though I'm married and have kids and all that. So, but we haven't really been talking so much about age.
Or hormones?
Or hormones, no.
Is that why, do you think? Is it something private or?
It's a very good question, Karin. I don't really know. Let's try figure out.
But I was thinking, can't we turn this period of like perimenopause, Klimakteria into something filled with lust, lustfyllt, and maybe even a little kinky in a different way?
Yeah!
Får jag bara fråga, drömlar eller?
Ja, det är det. I think we could turn this Klimakteria or menopause state and womanhood into something lustful and kinky. I think we could, but I think we have to kind of upgrade the discussion about it. It is so. I see it so often that we don't really talk with each other about these things. Like we do it with hushed voices, like, but you know, I'm so tired. I don't feel comfortable in my body anymore, and I don't want to go to this party. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna and that's a good thing. It's a good thing that you do it anyways. And you do it to inspire other women and to do it to inspire yourself as well. But then maybe you force something, like you force yourself to be something that you were. You have to inspire yourself and others to be something new. And what is that? We don't know.
So we don't know what's coming next. But what do you sense, Aurora? What's coming next for you?
I don't know, but for me, I think I'm on a path to self-love. That's what I'm craving. I think I've been craving attention. I've been craving love from others for many years. But now it's time to crave love from me to me and to let it shine. I mean, it sounds silly, but I think that is my future, and I hope for other women to kind of embrace that future as well. When our bodies are changing, when our hormones are changing, and our mood is changing, we need to look upon ourselves, I think, with another view. I've been thinking about female sexuality and also female sexuality at a certain age. Like, is it really taboo? Maybe it is, but in my generation, I am turning 40, and with women I've been talking to in the same age are a lot of them in this community of going to sex parties, doing BDSM, being kinky and all that, have like kind of this outgoing persona who wants to inspire other women by being very forward sexually, and that's great. But I've seen this distinguish. It's a change between that outgoing and what we can talk about in the podcast, and what they can tell me afterwards or before. That's kind of different, because and that's what I've been thinking about. Is it a taboo here? Because in my podcast, like, women tend to talk about their sexuality like very inspiring, like very outgoing. But then when we talk in private, they can tell me other things like struggles, hormones, tiredness, not wanting to, being very bored, and so on. So maybe it's a kind of a facade that we want to.
We need maybe more inspiration, adventures, and something new and fresh.
Yes.
A fresh breeze coming into our lives. I have seen, like, the last couple of years, maybe because of Oprah Winfrey and Hollywood, there are some celebrities that have come out of the closet and they started to share a lot of, which is like the case in social media, but like share a lot of very personal, private stories or situations of their everyday life, and how they are affected by hormonal changes.
But you know, it's interesting if it's private or if it's something that we can talk about. I think we're going to, I hope also that we are going to hear more about it, and it's happening. And when I'm thinking about it now, it's like the people that I have been talking to in my podcast, some of them are women in my age or older, and I also had older men in my podcast. But if we focus on women or bodies with vaginas, uterus, I think they kind of talk about their sexuality like we do have it, we do want it, and we know how to make it happen. But then when I turn off the rec player, they can. That's the point when they can talk about hormones, for example, or the struggles. So,
because I'm thinking when you're in like you are, Aurora, like the more like sexual communities and movements like BDSM is like talking about sex drive. And I saw like one of your episodes was about like high or like misuse or becoming like, when does it turn into addiction? But what about a low sex drive? And have you talked about that? Or because that's an issue with menopause and premenopause.
You know,
you get fed at least by like you will lose your sex drive when you come closer to your menopause.
The thing is, I struggle with that myself right now. I feel like I'm having lower and lower sex drive, and it's both sad and frustrating, but also kind of nice. And I feel like I'm very open to something new and some changes. I don't know what. New adventures, what we were talking about like before. So.
And how old are you, Aurora?
I'm 40 this year, so I'm going to turn 40. But I've been feeling like changes in my system for about 4 or 5 years.
Because it's also a lot of women that feel like they're in a sexual peak when they're like around 40, 41. I know. So it could be, again, like there's so many stories out there and depending on
I think
many things.
That is my frustration, because I've heard that so much, and also from people that I've been talking to in my podcast, but also outside my podcast, like 40, 41, 42, 43, like that's the peak age for women to have sex. And I feel like I had my peak like 7 years ago or something.
You will peak in 50! When you turn 50, you will be...
I hope so!
Beautiful, Aurora. But what do you think is needed for like public education or folkbildning, as we say in Swedish, for women to face and go into this transition that happens? It can start already when you're 35, 36 with hormonal changes.
Yeah.
Since it still seems to be a bit taboo to talk about it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to repeat myself, but I think it's about finding a new view to yourself, like this thing I was talking about, self-love, but also to read a lot, and to talk with other women, and to learn to see that you're not alone in this. It's for everyone. Everyone goes through it at some point. And also, but I want to say to people like my colleagues that work with sexual education, because I think in the word sexual education we also tend to focus very much on young people, but that is only one part of life. You need to know
and
some
maybe
things.
if you already know it when you are in your 20s. And it's not the end. That's kind of the tagline of Climaxteria. Menopause is not the end. It's just like, to me, it's more about remembering who I was before sexual hormones, but add on top of that, like all the experiences I had throughout life.
Yeah.
But also longing for something new.
Oh, it's a new chance.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Like it's a new chance to
resurrect.
Yes, and to experience yourself and others sexually.
In a new way.
In a new way. A more conscious way, perhaps.
And mature.
Yeah.
But also returning to play. And that is a little bit what you've been talking about, like the kink. The kink could also be about the opposite of being rigid-minded, like just opening up to exploring more, exploring beyond what you have explored so far in your life.
Yes, exactly. I was talking about kink as some kind of spark and some fantasy or imagination, and going back to yourself. That's kind of the... I want that to be like something leading me forward.
The bottom line.
The bottom line I mean, gud, ta bort det.
Okay.
Okay.
Aurora, how can we summarize this?
Summarizing, talk to other women and tell them exactly how you feel, and you're going to see that they feel kind of like the same. And then look at yourself with some new and fresh eyes. Look at yourself with love, and remember that now is the time to have a new chance to be sexually active if you want to, with yourself or with others. Remember that kink is not something strange and dirty, it's something fresh, it's sparkly, it's filled with lust, it's playful, and you are going to see that if you make love to yourself every day in your everyday life, when you walk the street, when you are shopping for groceries and connecting with your vagina. And
remember, your vagina is always there for you.
It is really. I'm working on it right now. No, but I think the summarizing is this kind of new chance, new adventures, playfulness that can happen.
Yeah.
If you let this be.
Let go and...
Yeah, and then
it's a new beginning.
It's a new beginning.